Yes. Yeah, it feels good to be back. I love the city. It's always so much fun, and we were in Madrid for a while, so it's always nice to change it up finally. And yeah, it's my first day here, so I'm just kind of getting used to the conditions and the courts, and yeah, hopefully I'll be ready to go in a couple days. I know. Yeah, what happened in Madrid was just, it was really disappointing. I kind of know, I know a lot of like what happened in detail leading up to like the event, just because Vika and I are on player council, so we kind of I had a feeling something was going to happen. Did I think that we were not going to be able to speak? No, I've never heard of that like in my life. I mean, in a 10K challenger final, you would speak. Like it's just, I don't know what century like everyone was living in when they made that decision, or how they actually had a conversation and decided like, wow, this is a great decision that we're going to do, and there's going to be no backlash against this. So, to be honest, it kind of just spoke for itself. I mean, we were upset when it happened, especially being told literally during the trophy ceremony that we weren't going to be allowed to speak. We were kind of like, well, I guess this just kind of proves a point. Like, we didn't really do anything, and here we are, and it kind of speaks for itself. So at the same time, there was also that aspect where we were kind of like, well, I mean, we don't have to say anything else. It's kind of, everyone kind of picked up on it and was very disappointed. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't really know what's going to happen after that, or what decision's going to be made, or statements, or anything regarding that. But it was just very disappointing. But I think everyone kind of felt that way. I think it was a buildup. There seemed to be a lot of drama in Madrid this year, on a variety of different things. And I think, yeah, I think there was just a buildup of a lot of tension, and it just kind of got worse and worse and worse, regarding a lot of issues that, you guys see online, or funny tweets or whatever. So I think, yeah, I think that didn't help the situation. I don't know if it was like the sole reason, but I think there was just a lot of things built up that led to that decision, which was important. Unfortunate. I wish we could have handled it. They could have handled it maybe in a more mature, professional way, but that's not what happened. So.
Sorry, this is a technical question, but you just mentioned that they told you on court that you will not be allowed to speak. So if they phrase it that way, you will not be allowed to speak.
No. So we went up. It was kind of awkward. Nobody really knew what to do. We got our trophies. Vika and Bia got theirs. And then the guy was like, okay, now you guys go up on the podium and take one together. And then Vika just turned to us and said, there's no speeches. And we were like, what? She's like, we're not allowed to talk. Like, there's no, and then we kind of realized there's no microphone set up. There's nothing. It was very kind of like rushed. So yeah, I mean, I don't know who told her specifically or what they specifically said to her, but that's why we were kind of all on the podium, like talking. And she was so confused. And we were all just kind of like, what? Like, this is so weird. And then the guy's like, turn around, take pictures, take pictures. And we're like, what is going on? And so we just kind of took a quick picture and then stormed off the court, to be honest.
Sorry, well, this one, but my question was, as far as the grid goes, I don't think it's anything new that the WTA always sort of struggled there. So in conversation with the player council, etc., do you think that there's something that you can collectively do to address the situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think out of all the drama, I think our end goal is to figure out solutions, and for us on our side to make recommendations of like, okay, this is what everyone's telling us, this is what's happening. And we did have several meetings with them at the beginning. I think the ATP Council and I was part of WTA Council, meeting with the tournament directors just to go over, and they were good conversations and they were fine, and I think they're aware. I think sometimes hopefully next year we can kind of prepare in advance, because I think sometimes we get there and there's problems, and sometimes it's too late to really fix things when everything's already up and running. So I'm hoping, yeah, that out of what happened, even though it wasn't great, that we can, yeah, come to just like some sort of decision-making process where we can start preparing for next year and like, okay, these problems cannot happen again. Like, this needs to be changed, because I think it seems like everyone notices it. So I don't know why it keeps kind of going unchanged, but hopefully this was kind of like the tipping point to like, we need to see some change for next year. But even I remember last year, the men's Zverev complaining about late matches and having to play Alcaraz, and but it's hard there. I know, they say, which is true, like a lot of people with the late matches, they eat at like 11 p.m. So like it's a kind of a cultural difference too, which is on their side, I think is a fair statement. But at the same time, there has to be like a meeting, like meet halfway kind of thing. And I think hopefully we can get there. But I know as player council, yeah, we do a lot with the tournaments and stuff like that, and making recommendations for the next years and what things should change. And we'll definitely have that conversation with them.
Just a question on Asian American Heritage Month back in the States. And I'm just kind of curious in terms of your Asian American identity, how you kind of articulate it. What does it mean to you? It's all different for all of us. But yeah, just what not the month, but yeah, just
Yeah.
your
Heritage. Yeah, I feel like mine's kind of maybe a little bit different. I'm half Korean, but my mom was adopted, and she was adopted very young. And so she doesn't speak Korean. She's really not Korean, like, at all in that aspect, where even when she came over, my grandparents, which were her adoptive parents, said she didn't even like anything that they recommended we feed her. She wanted like spaghetti and meatballs and like, and like candy. And like, so it was kind of funny that, yeah, I don't know a lot of my heritage, because she didn't really want to know that much, and she didn't really grow up in it. So I think for me it means maybe a little bit different, but I think sometimes I do forget the impact that you have on, especially like when I see a young Korean girls or families and they come up to me and they like love my mom and they love me just because they see themselves being represented on a bigger stage or in an area where there's not a lot of Asian Americans, let alone Asian American women, especially in sports, especially my mom being in the NFL, the NHL. It's kind of like non-existent. So I don't think I realized it till maybe, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago when I started to play better, have better results. My mom was kind of more in the spotlight, and you get those people that come up to you and are like, oh my God, like my daughters love you and they're such big fans, and they're also, half Asian, or we're from Korea, or we came over here, and you realize the importance of representation. So I think that's, for me, that's kind of what it means. It's seeing the difference you make, even though I didn't exactly grow up fully Korean. It's something that now I think me and my family and my sister have also wanted to learn more about, because we realize how important it is for those that come over here and those that are, in Asia, and they see us and in these different lights, kind of representing them when there's not a lot of us. So yeah, that's what it means to me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely say for me, it was a time I definitely learned a lot about myself, about, if you want to keep playing, how hard do you want to come back? I mean, it's stuff like that. And then also spending days in rehab, for months on end, which she's going to have a lot of that. It's really tough mentally, but I think you just have to, I don't know, you have to kind of embrace the suckiness of it, because it's not fun. And anyone that tries to tell you it's fun, it's not. So I think you just kind of have to embrace the aspect of, okay, I'm going to grind this out. It's not going to be the most fun, but I have to find ways to get through it and to, appreciate that I'm able to go through this rehab and find other ways to get better. I read a lot of books. I read a lot of autobiographies on like athletes that I really liked. I also was able to like be normal and be have somewhat of a normal life, which I think for her probably would be nice, spending time with her friends and her family and kind of going back to normalcy, especially with how she kind of catapulted to the top so quickly. So I think you just have to take advantage of the things that you don't normally get to do, but then at the same time, put in the work and the effort to come back, and know that it's definitely a journey and it takes a while, and it's, they say it's the process, but it's true. It's not going to be a quick fix. And I think every athlete kind of goes through that at some point with injuries, and it's mostly just about perspective. So. Yeah. I think in rehab, I definitely learned a lot about my body, where I feel like I know my body so well. I know what I need and I know what I don't need. I wasn't afraid to try different things, and I changed my training a lot. I got a new trainer. I started with like, not right after my hip surgery, but probably like 10 months after, maybe like a year after. And did a lot more, at least for me, like mobility work and stuff like that, which really made a huge difference, keeping me, I think, more injury free, and just being a lot more professional about my warm-ups and, recovery. I think I always worked hard when I was in the gym, but sometimes it's not always just working hard in the gym. It's like how you're preparing for your matches, for your practices, how your recovery is going after every single match. And that definitely plays into it. When you mentally, you're taking care of everything, it makes it so much easier when you go out there on the court, whether it's practice or it's tournaments and matches. So that was really, really important. I definitely became a lot more detail oriented with that stuff. Mm-hmm. For her? Yeah, I think that I think in a way, whoever's winning or losing, we all push each other, right? Like when you see someone come up and kind of set the bar higher, like someone like Iga did, it forces girls like myself or Rybakina, Sabalenka to also kind of have to raise their game, because there's no choice. So I think when you see that happening, that's how people get better, kind of like, Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. I mean, they all say if it wasn't for one of the others, I probably wouldn't have been as good. So I think in a way, even though we're all competing against each other, I think there's a lot of mutual respect where we're all pushing each other to be better and raise our level and raise our game. And I think that's something, that Iga probably set the bar so high last year, but I think also, and this isn't against her, but like for her to keep up that level this year is kind of, that would have been crazy. But I don't think she even really expected that. I think she's just kind of like, no, I just want to keep getting better as a player, because, when you start looking at it that way with just winning matches and records and stuff, I think you lose sight of the process of like your entire career and how it's long, especially for someone like her who's so young. So I definitely think other girls probably were dissecting more how to beat her and, playing better, and you can't really expect her to play lights out forever. So nobody can do that. Not even the best players in the world. So I think it's just a different year. It's a new year. It's a different change. I think some girls have gotten better, some girls more confident. I don't know, just gotten better in general. And I think we've all just pushed each other. And that's kind of why you see, me a little bit, yes, but more specifically like a Sabalenka Iga kind of, meeting in the finals a lot this year, Rybakina Sabalenka matchups, just because I think they're all kind of pushing each other and showing that, they want to compete and win these tournaments, and that they're improving.